So, Mr. Katzenberg, welcome. We're so glad to have you with us here at Bloomberg. Nice. So we know How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek 3, your next big release. All of these speak to DreamWorks Animation, the strength in animation, and your particular focus on 3D. How worried are you about consumers continuing to pay more, for example, $3.50 more per ticket, even after the novelty has worn off?
Well, I think if the experience is exceptional, which for the most part, every offering so far has been just that, there's no risk at all. People have been thrilled, feel like going to the movies is new and exciting in a way that they have not experienced before, and that's worth a premium. So, you know, I think as long as Hollywood puts forward high quality work, it's going to be here for forever.
Do you think the strength of the 3D films coming out will be enough to offset some of the losses in Hollywood, for example, for DVD sales?
Well, I think it's I think it certainly offers an opportunity to offset some of that loss. You know, the DVD market, you know, has sort of had a very challenging couple of years. The recession sort of emphasized that even more so, and consumer habits have really changed now in a big way. There's much more.
People are more conservative with what they spend?
Well, they're much more selective about what they buy. You know, they still want to see these movies at home, but they realize that there's so many opportunities, whether it's Netflix or Redbox or you know, Blockbuster. Or, yes, there's a lot of different ways to Apple TV in which you can see these things on a per-view basis. So buying has become a much more conservative choice, I think. Fortunately for our movies, they're like babysitters. And kids want to see these over and over and over again. So Mom, who is the primary purchaser of our DVDs, actually still sees pretty great value.
So you have to make more movies that moms like. That's the bottom line, right?
Well, they have to do that no matter what.
Well, you mentioned this home element. What do you think of 3D TVs? You know, obviously the implication that people will be watching more and more 3D material, even in their own home. Do you think that lessens the excitement to go out and see a 3D film in a movie theater?
I don't. I think they're very, very different experiences. I mean, you know, we've partnered up with Samsung, who has got a series of 3D TV sets that they've made and more that are coming to the market in the fourth quarter. They're breathtaking. They really are beautiful experiences and very, very high quality. But it's so different from the sense of immersion that you get when you're in a big screen in a movie theater with a couple of hundred people, you know, particularly like the IMAX experience in it. The home can't compete with that, and that's what's great is that we have people coming back to the movie theaters for the first time in 20 years.
How much do you have to produce backwards? In other words, think of the content and the visual aspect of the movie when it goes to 3D. In other words, do you have to do big blockbusters for 3D to work?
I don't think so. I mean, that's the big debate in Hollywood right now, which is that 3D has been very, very successful for the CG animated films and for Avatar and Alice, so a couple of the big blockbuster films in it. There's a lot of question is, what will its value be when you get to more intimate movies? What would it mean for the Hurt Locker? And, you know, my belief is
that intense an experience?
Well, it's not. I mean, what 3D is it allows the filmmaker to immerse the audience, in their storytelling. And in the same way that sound and color were great innovations and tools in the hands of storytellers, that's what 3D is. So it amplifies the feelings that you have when you're watching a movie when it's in 3D.
We just alluded to Shrek Forever. I know that's the next big release. How is it tracking so far in the testing markets?
Well, you know, that tracking is a lot of mumbo jumbo.
Come on, just tell us.
It's good. It's very good, and
but not great.
No, you know, I don't put a whole lot of credence to it. So it's not about whether it's great or good or very good, and I'm not sure that it tells you as much as. You know, it's a little bit like reading tea leaves in it, but it's very strong. What
happens, though, longer term with DreamWorks brand? We know in July there's a potential crossroads. What's the most likely scenario?
Well, I'm not sure I know what the crossroad is, but, you know, we have a great future ahead of us, you know, a fantastic slate of movies over the next couple of years. You know, being a smaller, independent kind of jewel of a company right now today is an enviable place to be. bigger is not actually proving to be better for many of the big media companies, and so I'm not particularly envious of size right now.
Can't let you go without asking you some sort of bigger Hollywood questions. And, you know, we were just talking before the interview about this idea of Hollywood futures. And your comment was, why bring more instability or uncertainty into a process, a filmmaking process that's already pretty difficult? So you're obviously against it.
Well, it's even more so than that. You know, movie making already has a very high degree of gambling in it. You know, it's most movies don't succeed. More of them fail than do. So now to bring a whole nother level of gambling on top of gambling, it seems to me it's like turning it into Las Vegas. It's kind of nutty.
Speaking of that, I mean, there's a lot of shifting gears and a lot of combinations, potential combinations in Hollywood right now. Lionsgate is in play. Just as an industry insider, what do you think is the most likely scenario for Lionsgate?
You know, I don't know. I have no idea. It's, well-run company, good guys running the company. Mr. Icahn certainly is a fierce fighter, and I have no idea.
We also have Harvey Weinstein's partnership with Burkle. Many are asking, is this going to work out?
Well, you know, I have a very long and great history with Harvey. I'm one of his bigger fans. You know, I think he is a gigantically talented guy, and you know, I wouldn't bet against him.
Do you think that the deal is taking an unusually long time? Do you see it that way, or do you know something? Any
deal today. Tell me any deal getting made in any part of the world today that doesn't, you know, have its glitches, have its challenges in it. It's a tough time to make a deal.
Speaking of making a deal, not making a deal, of course, in the rumor mill, we have to ask you to comment. I mean, is there any truth to the speculation that you've discussed a sale of DreamWorks? Any interest in being a consolidator yourself?
Well, you know, as I said to you, right now we're in a very enviable position. You know, we're sort of like this little Tiffany company that is, you know, doing great. Our films are doing well. Our DVDs are still selling. The company is growing. You know, we're on a great run with Dragons and Shrek coming and another film later this year. And, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So you're happy being independent and sort of this jewel box, as you allude to, in the Hollywood scene?
Right now, it's a pretty great place to be.
If we have to ask you the one thing that every time you're in a meeting, anytime you're discussing business with your peers, what comes up as the #1 concern to doing business in Hollywood right now?
Well, I think there is, you know, the changing, you know, economics of the business. The fact that the home video marketplace, which has really driven, you know, Hollywood for the last 20 years, is in decline. And that's a real challenge to Hollywood as a whole. As I say, we have not been impacted in the same way that the rest of the movie industry has been, but I would say that more than anything else dominates every conversation every day. And it's affecting everybody, from the salaries of stars down to how many movies are being made. Here's an interesting fact. In 2008, there were 178 movies made by the studios. In 2009, 148. In 2010, probably about 130. So that alone, that contraction, just has huge ripple effects throughout the business. So I think it's a moment of real concern. As I say, 3D has been the one real positive note in all of that, and you know, has shown a lot of promise and opportunity, but it's not the only. There's a bigger answer needed right now.
All right, Mr. Katzenberg, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Katzenberg.